So I'll ask you to stand to your feet, and we want to read Galatians 1, verses 6 through 10. This final presentation is entitled, of this four-part series, Appreciate Your Pastor. Today it's for not pleasing people. I didn't get an amen from no people this morning. Amen.
Amen, amen.
My pastor Paul says if we seek to please God, it doesn't matter whom we displease.
All right.
And if we displease God, it doesn't matter whom we please.
All right.
Galatians chapter 1, verses 6 through 10 says, I'm amazed that you are so quickly deserting him who called you by the grace of God for a different gospel, which is really not another, only that there are some who are disturbing you and want to distort the gospel of Christ. But even if we were an angel from heaven, should preach to you a gospel contrary to what we have preached to you, he is to be accursed, as we have said before. So I say again now, if any man is preaching to you a gospel contrary to what you receive, he is to be accursed.
Lord have mercy.
For am I now seeking the favor of men or of God? Or am I striving to please men? If I was still trying to please people, I would not be a bond servant of Christ. Father, it's by your word that we live. Without your word that we die.
Yes, Lord.
Lord, I pray we choose life.
Yes,
We would choose to be obedient to your word. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, amen.
As I told you when I began this series sometime earlier this month, this sermon series is not actually directly about you appreciating me. The purpose for this, that in years to come, for posterity's sake, people will be able to take the audio and sound bites and chips away from this sermon and know how to the next generation and the generation thereafter, if Christ tarries, to appreciate pastors properly.
Yeah.
This is being Pastor's Appreciation Month. I've tried to labor this month to give us some type of idea of what pleases God in regards to appreciating God's servant. I don't know if any of you, well, many of you, all of you know, but my nonprofit foundation that actually houses and produces all of my sermon books and videos and all those other things that we are preparing for media. I have a tagline, and I've had it for years, ever since I started the foundation. And that tagline for my foundation literally says, guarding the truth until he comes.
Yeah.
That's my tagline. In other words, that came out of 1 Timothy chapter 6, because that's what Paul tells Timothy. He says, guard what has been entrusted to you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I need you to know that that's what every God-called pastor's responsibility is. The first sermon I preached, if he's to be faithful in his preaching, second sermon I preached, if he is to be faithful for his godly calling, appreciated for his godly calling, last sermon, if he is to be a man of integrity, a pastor of integrity, then he will not be able to please people.
Yeah.
In his goal to pleasing God.
Yeah.
That's right.
If a pastor is going to please God, he must guard the purity and the exclusivity of the gospel. He can't be all willy-nilly. He can't be entertaining folk. If a pastor is going to please God, he must be one man who's willing to stand alone for the sake of the gospel in the face of the entire world and not just his own congregation.
Yeah.
Guarding the truth of the gospel and pleasing God and not people is what we find Paul doing in this his most passionate of letters. And I say this is his most passionate of letters because if you look at the end of this book of Galatians, Paul literally says, I'm writing this one with my own hands. He said, I didn't dictate this letter. I wrote it in big, bold stroke letters. So I need you to know I'm so passionate about it. I didn't dictate this letter. I wrote it on my own.
Yeah, yeah.
So in this most passionate of all of his letters, he writes to the churches of Galatia. You got to understand, Paul had spent virtually his entire life fighting the gospel for the gospel.
Yeah.
Rather, I should say his entire saved life fighting for the gospel.
Yeah.
When he was opposed by the church at Colossians, he was opposed by them for their incipient Gnosticism, which was building amongst the Colossians. In other words, there was some new stuff that was starting to be proliferate and find its way through this church in Colossians. And so Paul fought that fight. He waged a war against secular philosophy. He waged a war against Jewish legalism, Eastern mysticism, horoscopes, and a strict self-taught asceticism amongst the Galatians. So he's fighting this stuff that these Galatians have been taught by false prophets and teachers. He's fighting right now to make sure this asceticism, this stuff that's being developed in them called church, he's fighting to kill that.
Yeah, yeah.
He battles against those also in Corinth who had denied the resurrection of Christ. He even wrestled with the zealous fanaticism, if you will, among the Thessalonians. So I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. Paul had a fight with the churches in Thessalonica. He had a fight with the churches in Colossae. He had a fight with the churches in Galatia. Everywhere he preached the gospel, he did not please folk.
Yeah, yeah, all right. Yeah.
Paul did all of this in the defense of the purity, and I say again, the exclusivity of the gospel, not to please people.
Yeah.
But to please God.
Yeah.
I hope y'all can appreciate that. My drag-along phrase this morning is very simple. Everybody say, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Now, I know we're a long way from Paul's day, but in a sense, we're still living in the exact times. What I'm saying is, even in our day and even in our time, every God-called preacher is fighting a good fight if he's fighting for the gospel. Did you get what I said?
Yeah.
If he's fighting for the purity and the exclusivity of the gospel, then he's fighting the good fight. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If his church is not a 10,000 member church, but he's staying true to the gospel, he's fighting a good fight.
Yeah.
In our day, our opponents are many. There are cults that we have to stand up against. There's false religion. There's that prosperity theology that's being promoted. But we have to stand against the Roman Catholic Church.
Yeah.
We have to stand against non-lordship advocates, the social gospel, proponents of all types of new age movements. We have to stand and fight against universalists who think that everybody's going to be saved. There's just too many to name that we have to stand and fight for.
Yeah.
Purity and exclusivity of the gospel. Falls, ladies and gentlemen, on every leader of Christ's church, not just the senior pastor, the leaders of the church, to act like men and to stand strong in the grace of God in defending the gospel, not to please people, but to please God.
Yes.
You see why it's so difficult to add programs to the church and the worship of God? Because when we begin to add stuff, and I'm not going to name it because I'll get in trouble, but you know what I'm talking about. There's stuff that's added in worship services, and we have validated them. Well, many have validated them, but they are merely there to please people and not to please God.
All right. All right.
Amen. And y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Yes, there is something wrong with it. What's wrong with it, Pastor? Because it's designed to please and entertain people and not God.
Yeah.
So something is wrong with it. Something wrong with dancing? No. But if it's designed to please people in the worship of God, then yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to break the rules of tradition this morning, and I'm going to explain these verses in reverse order, beginning at verse 10, going backwards to verse 6, and then I'm going to finish going back to verse 10. So right now, beginning with verse 10, in verse 10, we have Paul's aim, if you will. I like the way Dr. Steve Lawson gave me these bullet points. I don't give him credit for that. And in verse 10, I kind of bosterized them, but in verse 10, we have Paul's aim. And this is his aim for guarding the gospel. Look at what verse 10 says. It says, "For I am now seeking the favor of men or of God." He's being facetious here. "Or am I striving to please men," he asked. "Or am I still trying to please? If I was still trying to please men," he said, "I would not be," and let me tell you what that word really means. You can take it all the way down. "A slave of Christ." And I know that's a bad connotation to tap with that word, but the only reason why a lot of people are not serving God the way they should serve God, because they don't see themselves as they should see themselves, and we should see ourselves as slaves to Christ, our master.
Yeah.
Yes. So he says, in verse 10, he simply wanted to always please God when he was presenting the gospel. Paul did not court the applause of the crowd. Paul did not seek the popularity of the world when he preached. If you ever see pastors preaching, and they're preaching to get the applause of the crowds, they're seeking to please men and not to please God.
Yeah.
Paul, he wasn't seeking the favor of people when he preached. You can read his sermons and see that. He did what every God-called preacher who preaches ought to do, and that's with his sermon, please God. Everybody say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a pastor who is not pleasing people, you ought to be appreciated for that. I realized something very early in my ministry, and that was that if I seek to please God, guess what? It doesn't matter whom I displease. And if I displease God when I preached, it doesn't matter whom I please. I, like Paul, realized that I was, watch this, ladies and gentlemen, commissioned by God. I was chosen by God. I was called by God. I was set apart by God. I was saved by God. I was redeemed by God. I've been enlightened by God. I'm being instructed by God. I was appointed by God. I'm being empowered by God. I'm being directed by God. So why on earth, if God is doing all these things with my life and with my preaching, I would seek to please people?
Yeah, Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Especially those who are enemies of God.
Yeah.
We don't like to call ourselves that, but I guarantee you, if you read Ephesians and read 1 Peter, especially chapter 4, you'll see that we were enemies of God.
Yeah. Amen.
Before he saved us.
Amen.
You see, when we adapt the sermon to make known enemies of God feel comfortable about God, which we shouldn't feel comfortable about God. When I was a child, I wasn't comfortable walking in a room with my mama and another adult, because there were things that would be said and done in their presence, and I knew I didn't belong in the room. And so if I was in the room, I was very careful of what I would say or do in the presence of two elders. Ladies and gentlemen, that was human elders who were sinners.
Yeah.
What do you think we should feel? How do you think we should feel when we're in the presence of God?
Yeah.
We should feel uncomfortable
Yeah.
in the presence of God with all of his holiness and all of our sinfulness.
Lord have mercy.
We should feel uncomfortable
in his presence.
in God's presence.
Amen.
So you can't please people with your preaching to make them comfortable. Because when you do that, God has been made uncomfortable and not pleased.
Yes, Lord.
Wow. Verse 9. Baptist. As we have said before, so I say again, if any man is preaching you a gospel contrary to what you receive, he is to be accursed. Let me read verse 8 with that. But even if we are an angel from heaven, should preach to you a gospel contrary to what we have preached to you, he is to be accursed. And y'all got that thing?
Amen.
In both verses, they say the person is to be accursed. Well, in verse 9, we have Paul's anathemas. And anathema, let me explain to you, he uses this as anathema for God in the gospel. The word anathema is really an ecclesiastical term, if you will. It's a form or a phrase for having an odious, hateful feeling, if you will, dislike towards something that could lead to a ban. In other words, it was an ecclesiastical curse that you would put on people that would excommunicate them from the church. In other words, they couldn't keep coming to church if they were functioning like this. That's what it means to be accursed. It involved not only words, but it was the beginning of the excommunication from the church if the people didn't get it right.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is Paul's anathema in verse 8 and verse 9. Now, notice what he does, because I like it when you read it backwards. It's kind of hard to see it, but when you read it from verse 8 to verse 9, what Paul does in verse 9 is he reloads his anathema from verse 8. In other words, he gives it another go-around in verse 9, what he had dogmatically asserted in verse 8. He asserts that his message hadn't changed, like the false prophet's message had changed. I'm going to ask you this question. How many of y'all been waiting on y'all season for more than one season?
Right.
See, they told us last year. Come on, it was your season. They told you for last. Come on now. Appreciate your pastor for truth right here. It was your season. So I'm not going to call him a liar. I'll let y'all do that. But it was your season in 15. It was your season in 2016. It was your season in 2017. It was your season in 2018. That means every year, teach Pastor Paul, they got to change the message.
Yeah. All right. And the season ain't came yet.
Paul said, ever since you know me.
Yeah.
Pastor Boston said to you today, when you were kids walking around here and your mom and dad wouldn't let you get a perm on your hair. You know what I'm talking about. You walk around here, they wouldn't dare let you. You walk around there, nap a hair, ponytail, now look at now, all long, pretty hair, married, building big houses. I was teaching and preaching the same way then.
Amen.
My preaching haven't changed.
Yeah, amen.
My preaching has not changed. Because the truth is the truth. So I'm telling you, like Paul said, listen, you've been coming around here for 20 plus years, and my message has not changed. They'll change every year.
Yeah.
I know what Paul says here might offend some sensitive sinners. But as I told you, in my pastor's truth tweet this week, which came straight out of this verse here, straight out of Scripture. It came out of Galatians 1 and 8. He says to be accursed. He says in verse 8 and he says in verse 9. So let me tell you what that means. I've shared this before. To be accursed literally means to be damned to hell.
Yeah.
It literally means to be damned to hell.
Yeah.
Now don't get twisted because I said damned, because that's what accursed means. To be damned to hell. So what Paul is saying here, I like this, y'all. In verse 8, in case you missed it, he he says it again in verse 9. He literally is saying he would prefer that false teachers, are y'all ready for this, will go to hell.
Yeah.
Before they take or cause anyone else to go there with them.
Amen. All right.
That's what he's saying in this anathema. Paul, he's declaring it. Y'all, this ain't dialogue. This ain't discussion. This is a declaration. He said they should be damned.
Yeah.
Teaching all these false prophecies and pleasing people instead of pleasing God.
Yeah.
Y'all, I like y'all. Truth of the matter is I love y'all. Y'all just don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I ain't gonna be damned to hell
Yes, because.
for trying to please
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah. Amen.
Everybody say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
What Paul and every God-called pastor preacher should extract from this is that there is no room for neutrality. I thank God. God is doing something with me and a couple other pastors around here. My wife and I, we had dinner with 3 other senior pastors and their wife on Friday night, and we're starting something. We got a group of about 30 pastors. We're meeting with them, and we're teaching and we're training them. This is outside of the other thing I'm doing, because God has put this call on my life to be involved in these senior pastors' life. And one of the part of the discussion that was leading to is, y'all, there ain't no room when it comes to being a faithful pastor for neutrality. You know what neutrality means? It kind of means, okay, you know, well, maybe it does. And maybe it don't say that. Ain't no room for that in preaching.
Yeah.
There's no room for indifference in faithful preaching.
Yeah.
There's no room for passivity in the preacher or in the pulpit when it comes to defending the gospel in relationship to preaching.
Yeah. All right.
Think about it. If as preachers we don't get worked up over the things that work the heart of God up, then what use are we to God?
Yeah.
If what get God's ticked don't get us ticked, if what is important to God is not important enough for us to communicate, what use are we to God?
Amen. Amen.
If the gospel we preach is true, then the glory of Jesus Christ and the salvation of the people is at stake. And that's worth fighting for, ladies and gentlemen. That's worth fighting for. You can't appreciate me now for telling folk who are trying to get folk to go to hell. I don't know if you hear what I said. Let me say it slow. You can't really appreciate me now for telling folk who are trying to get folk to go to hell. But later in heaven, when you see Jesus and your loved one there, who were blessed by the truth of my and Paul's preaching and Paul's anathema, you will appreciate it indeed.
Yeah, amen.
Parents told me so many things when I was little, they thought I appreciated it. I'm sorry. When I was young and them too, I didn't appreciate none of the stuff they said.
That's right.
Yeah.
But I thank God for getting old.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Because I do appreciate it. Truth of the matter is, I wished I could have appreciated it back then.
Amen. But it made less mistakes. Amen. Amen.
So I'm giving you 10, I'm giving you 9 and 8. I'm cutting across the field right now, y'all. 7, I'm giving you 7, but I'm going to drag out 6. So let's look at verse 6. He says, I'm amazed that you are so quickly deserting him, big letter H, who called you by the grace of Christ for a different gospel.
Yeah.
Everybody say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
See, well, let me finish verse 7, and then I'll come back to it. In verse 7, Paul, we see his and our adversaries in regards to guarding the gospel. So one of the first things we need to know is that the church of God and the word of God, please catch this, y'all, has more than one adversary.
Yeah. All right.
Look in the middle of verse 7. That's what the word I just saw, what you see. The middle of verse 7 is a word that says some. It says, which is really not another, only that there are some who are disturbing. There are some who are distorting you. Did you get that? In the middle of verse 7, it says some, not one.
Yeah.
Who are disturbing and distorting the gospel of Christ. The Greek word for disturbing, it means to trouble. It means to agitate. It literally means to shake up. And then the Greek word for distort, it means to transform something. Watch this, y'all. To transform something into the very opposite of what it is.
Yeah, all right.
I don't hear what I say.
All right.
To distort something is to change it from what it was to the very opposite of what it was. So he said, you got some who are disturbing you, who are shaking up stuff, agitating stuff, and then you got some folk who are distorting it. So what Paul is saying, and then that's why he wrote a letter, he said, because in my absence, that's why he had to write a letter, because he wasn't there. He said, in my absence, in a sense, y'all don't let these false teachers creep up in here and make you corrupt with a false gospel.
Yeah.
That's why the preacher pastor has to be very comfortable who he opens the pulpit to.
Yeah.
He's got to be very comfortable how long he's going to be absent from teaching and preaching on the pulpit, because false preachers and teachers, they can slip in and divert, distort, and distract the gospel to lead God's people away from the truth.
Yeah, all right.
Paul is saying during his absence, y'all don't let these folks slip in here and mess you up.
Yeah.
See, I know y'all come to church every Sunday, but on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, you cut it on the Christian radio channel. You cut it on your favorite Christian preacher, besides Pastor Boston. And the stuff that I filled you with up on Sunday, they filling you up with stuff that's contrary to the stuff I filled you up with on Sunday.
Yeah, all right.
And if you get that 6 days a week, and the truth only 1 day a week, well, by the time you get back to hear the truth, teach Pastor Ball, you think it's a lie.
Yeah, all right.
Be careful who you listen to in between your truth lessons.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not saying I'm the only one teaching truth.
Yeah.
But I'm saying you better be careful of who you listen to in between. I'm going to prove it here in just a minute. Listen. There's no difference in what many pastors and preachers do today. Those who seek to court the crowds and who seek the popularity of the world, let me tell you what they have to do with their sermons. When they want, them to come to church, when they want the crowd to come to church, they have to twist the truth of their sermon. They have to tweak the truth of their sermon. They have to change and twist the truth. They have to tamper with the gospel. They have to dilute the purity and distort the exclusivity of the eternal essence of the state for pleasing people.
Yeah.
Pastor, you can't say I have folk in my own family. Pastor, don't say that. Come on, I know it's true, but Daddy, don't say that. You're gonna run folk off.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta understand. My job is to please God.
Yeah.
It's not to please people.
Yeah.
And if the truth runs folk off,
Lord have
please
mercy.
understand what I'm saying. They ain't running from Pastor Boston.
They running from the truth.
They're running from God.
Yeah.
I'll prove that just a bit. I'll prove that just a bit. So you have pastors and preachers who tamper with, delude the purity of the gospel. Oh, they talk about the cross. Oh yeah, they do. They even sing about the cross. They talk about Christ. They speak of the grace of God. They talk about the love of God. They pontificate about the faith of God. But simultaneously, because they are distorting it and disturbing it, what they literally are doing, they are claiming that faith is kind of not enough.
Yeah.
Water it down. Yeah.
You got to do something else to be right with God. It's not sola scriptura, the word of God alone. It's not sola defiа. It's not sola de gratia. It's not just grace alone and faith alone and salvation alone. No, it's some stuff you got to do.
Lord have mercy.
Be right with God.
Yeah.
And what Paul would say here what these false teachers and preachers are doing, they're actually damning the souls of the people to hate those that they preach this compromised gospel to. I hope y'all got that, because you might have missed it. I wasn't talking about the overt and the obvious preachers or adversaries, false teachers who deny the Trinity. I'm not talking about the overt and the obvious false teachers who deny the absolute deity of Christ. Y'all, I'm talking about the not so obvious false teachers. Those that when they're teaching the truth, it's difficult to determine if they're false teachers or not. Because it sounds good, it's coming out of the Bible. Just like in Paul's days, there are a lot of them, and not just one of them. And there's so many of them. The best way to describe it is that there are some who are distorting the gospel. See, those are the kind of adversaries that we have to watch out for. They're the worst kind. They appear to be allies of the truth, but they're actually the exact opposite. They preach to please people rather than God. I can't tell you how many times people came back and told me, oh, well, this church was born, they were growing, and this and that. And so I'll Google the preacher. They don't know it, y'all don't know it, but I'll Google the preacher. And I'll listen through the stuff that he been saying. I'm going like, wow, I wish y'all would quit listening to that. But I can't tell you that because you had such a great time there. They're distorting the gospel. Using it to please people. And so they have the crowd, they have the community, they have the core there, but as committed to the things of God, it's missing. They preach to please people and not God. Then in verse 6, Paul shows his astonishment. Notice what he says. And remember, you have to first read verses 1 through 5, just to fossilize it. Paul said, oh, I love y'all Galatians. Man, it's been a long time. I ain't been there to see you. I wish I could be there with you. Now let's get things straight. Verse 5. Verse 6. After you get all of the hellos and love you and all that out of the way, he said, I'm shocked. He said, I am amazed. So here in verse 6, we have Paul's amazement in regards to how quickly these folk who had heard the gospel truth are now discerning the truth of the gospel. He said he was amazed. Now, amazed is a very strong word. It meant that Paul was awestruck. It means he was astounded. He was bowled over. He was dumbfounded. He was flabbergasted, if you will. He was shocked. He was stunned. He was stupefied. He was thunderstruck. He was thrown off, if you will. By how quickly they were deserting the gospel. When Paul used the word deserting, it's a military term that referred to a soldier who had abandoned his post or his position. It means to go AWOL. So as Paul sees it, the Galatians had went AWOL. They had deserted their loyalty to God and their allegiance to the Lord Jesus Christ. Everybody say it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
In the grammatical tense in which this letter is written, it's a present tense letter. In other words, it reveals that while he was writing this letter, they were functioning like this right now. In other words, at the very hour, at the very moment, they were in the process of deserting God himself. Also, another grammatical thing you need to know about this, in the Greek verb here is used in the middle voice, which implies that the Galatians were personally, whenever you see the middle voice in Greek, it literally means you are personally responsible for the actions. So Paul is saying you are personally responsible for your actions in deserting God. You can't blame this on nobody else. Somebody say, why?
Wow.
He said, because when I was there, I taught you the truth. And now you have accepted it for some other gospel. That word deserting, it's a very detrimental word, because in the deserting, the gospel that the Galatians were doing, you gotta understand this, they weren't just deserting the gospel, they were also deserting God. They were not just merely deserting a system of theology, as important a system of theology is, they were deserting the very God of that system. It's as if Paul was saying, you're turning your to God Almighty. You're like a military deserter. You are a spiritual turncoat, if you will. You are a defector of the worst kind of defectors.
Yeah, Lord have mercy.
Paul says, I was just with you not long ago, and I delivered you the message. I told you a message of hope and of truth, and now you are quickly deserting both the message of God and God. Hope y'all got that. God himself is the gospel.
Yeah.
Therefore, to move away from the gospel
Moving away from God.
is to move away from God.
Yeah. All right.
All
right.
Watch out for folk who believe in God but doubt the Bible.
Lord have mercy.
Hey, I'm always conflicted about that. Let me get this straight. You believe in God,
Doubt the Bible.
but you doubt the Bible.
Lord have mercy.
And they may not use the term doubt, but their lives tell you they doubt the Bible.
Yeah.
The gospel, ladies and gentlemen, is God's gospel. Romans 1:1 tells us that the gospel is God's truth. The gospel is God's power. The gospel is God's message. So to abandon God's message is to abandon God himself.
That's right.
That's why we're a Bible teaching church, because if I abandon the Bible, then I'm abandoning God.
Yeah.
If I'm going caught up with a tradition or denomination, I'm abandoning God because I've abandoned the Bible, or I let my commitment to the denomination, my commitment to tradition overrule truth.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can say this another way. I got a few minutes left. The Bible displays, and this is why I have to teach the Bible, because the Bible displays the love and the wrath of God.
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
When I teach, or somebody teach their own opinion, you're just going to hear about the love of God. The Bible displays the wrath of God just as much as it displays the love of God.
Yeah.
The Bible shows us our sins and that we're under judgment. We were under judgment at the cross.
Yeah.
If I don't teach the Bible, we're not going to know we're
Yeah.
sinners. The Bible shows us how Christ Jesus became both a curse and a cure for us. The Bible, we learn the gospel of God, that is the righteousness of God, has been provided for us in the perfect obedience of Jesus Christ. The Bible teaches us that Jesus lived a sinless life, and his substitutionary death is the thing that has us acceptable to God.
Yeah.
Y'all, if you can't believe in those things in the Bible, then you don't believe in God.
Yeah. Amen.
On the lines of theology, all the lines of theology, they properly intersect, if you will, ladies and gentlemen, in the gospel of Jesus Christ. All of the attributes of God, they intersect into the person and the work of Jesus Christ, who is the gospel for us. That's who Christ is. That's what Christ brought. That's what he represented. So for us to defect from, deny, or distort any part of the gospel is to defect from, to deny and distort the truth about who God is himself.
Yeah.
And you hear people say, well, I just don't believe that God still is like that. Or he still feels that way about certain things. Yes, it does. Because in the Bible it says, what? He's God and he what? Changes not. So what you gonna believe? Your personal feelings over the truth of God.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
He still feels like that about that, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Because we have so many pastors and preachers and false teachers defecting from the body. Some, if you will. Many in our time today. And many folk are hearing it. When they hear the truth, they believe the truth got to be a lie because they hear so many lies that's presented as the truth.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Galatians had deserted God. And notice when they deserted him, after he, being God, had provided for them salvation through his sovereign and his irresistible, effectual grace. The very same grace, ladies and gentlemen, that has called us. The very same grace that has overpowered us. The very same grace that has conquered our resistance to God. I don't know about y'all, but I used to resist God. I was running from God. And I thought I knew where to run to, but when I got there, he was there.
Yeah, all right.
I would run into God, trying to run away from God.
Yeah.
Somehow, just like with them, and some of us, not me anymore, we still reject God's pure, his sheer, and his unadulterated grace.
Yeah.
And here's my point, I'm saying this on your ear, for a different kind of gospel.
Lord, have mercy.
Notice what it says in that verse. It says, in verse 6, it says, for a different gospel. Now let me be clear here. When Paul and I say a different gospel, we're not implying, ladies and gentlemen, that there is another one equivalent to this one.
Yeah.
Y'all miss what I say.
Yeah.
And it ain't some other way just like this way. It ain't some other truth that's equivalent to this truth. And if you grab that truth, then you got the truth. No. When he says a different gospel, we are not implying that there's another one equivalent to this one.
Yeah.
Truth of the matter is, there really is not another one like this one.
Yeah.
See, there are only two kinds of gospels, ladies and gentlemen. There's the true gospel, amen.
Yeah.
And then there's the false gospel.
Yeah.
There's the gospel that saves.
Yeah.
And there's the gospel that condemns.
Yeah.
What Paul was saying that the Galatians had deserted the gospel of divine accomplishments, if you will, they have substituted that for the gospel of human achievements. Y'all hear what I said? In other words, listen, you can do this. You can have your best life right now. You can be rich in the things of God right now. Yeah. You can be prosperous right now. But all you got to do is do this. That's called human achievement.
Yeah.
Okay, how you wrap it up?
Right.
Okay, how you wrap it up?
Right.
And that's called human achievements. That's what folk were going after $1.6 billion last week. Because through their own human achievements, they thought they were going to be billionaires.
Yeah.
See, they had defected from the divine accomplishments of the gospel and turned it in for human achievements.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can fix this now. What if it's not God's will that you have that now?
That's right.
Let me tell you something right quick. I'm going to divert for a second and get back to it, because maybe y'all miss this because we hear it all the time. Romans 8:28. Y'all hear this all the time. For all things work together for
the good of those.
Okay, stop right there. Who is good?
Yeah. God and
there
God
is
alone.
none good but God. Y'all hear what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all hear what I'm saying? So when it says all things work together for the good, you gotta understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All things is working together for God. When we think God, y'all miss what I said. We think and he's talking about our own benefit, our own good, our own pleasures, our own, proclivities, our own things. And that's not what that means.
Yeah.
Say all things working together for God, his good. Then it goes on to say those other things. Mm-hmm. So if you lay these two gospels down side by side, there's a modern day idiom that literally says they're literally as opposite as oranges and apples.
Yeah.
So if you have another gospel different from this gospel, it's distorted, meaning it is the exact opposite of this gospel.
Yeah.
Another gospel other than the one that elevates Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior is not a saving and non-sanctifying gospel. When I hear people saying there's other ways to heaven besides Jesus Christ, they literally have said, they have removed the exclusivity of Christ.
Yeah.
Y'all, any other gospel that does not lift up Jesus Christ is a non-saving, non-sanctifying gospel of legalism. I don't care how good it sounds. I don't care if it's a 20-minute sermon and you got it and you was out of there and you was lifted up. I don't care how good it sounds. If it's different from this gospel, no matter how good it sounds, it's a counterfeit gospel. It's a sham of salvation and it's a rip-off of religion.
All right.
It's really not another one. Because it's not another one like this one. I gotta stop here, y'all. I got a couple minutes and I'll be through. So let me let you know the difference between a different gospel. I need to let you know that a different gospel is going to have a different impact and a different influence from God's gospel, the one and only true gospel. Think about it, y'all. With all these churches we got on every corner, with all these preaching all this stuff, all this truth, and all this stuff, why are things getting worse?
Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
I think y'all can answer that right now. You know what I'm saying? With all these churches, with all these people, with all these people doing all this preaching, doing all this stuff, but yet things are getting worse. That's because they have defected from the true gospel. And are teaching a different sort of gospel that's pleasing people. And not God. See, when you've heard the truth of God, it convicts us and it compels us to be servants and stewards of the things of God. You know it's a different gospel when the people of the church reject God as an absolute moral authority. And they assert that their own moral authority and that each individual can determine their own moral truth. Y'all, somebody say make it plain, Pastor.
Make it plain, Pastor.
See, a person has defected from the truth of the gospel, ladies and gentlemen, when they reject God's truth and they assert their own moral authority. In other words, let me see, maybe y'all heard this before. Well, it ain't no sin. It's legal. The state says it's legal. So it's really not a sin. And see, let me tell you, literally what a person has done, when they talk about that, no matter what it is, they are literally asserting their own moral authority and they are determining what is good for themselves and what's not good for God. And see, when you get preached a different kind of gospel, you'll come to that conclusion. When there's a different kind of gospel preached to the people of church, it allows a gradual seeping of secularism into the church.
All right.
Amen, Pastor.
All right.
You know, when you can make the same moves in church, that you make out there, you understand what I'm saying? Come on now. Okay, that's all right. Teach Pastor Boss. When you can feel in the church, wow, just like you felt out there.
I'm wrong.
See, that's a seepage of secularism into the church. And it gets there by accepting an undeniable shift from a God-centered theology to a man-centered theology, to pleasing yourself instead of pleasing God. Back to verse 10, I'm going to close. Here's what pleasing man rather than pleasing God looks like. When there's more emphasis on enlarging the congregation than on developing a personal relationship with the living God. Here's what pleasing man rather than God is like. There's more emphasis on entertainment than reverence toward a holy God. There's more focus on marketing strategies than on God's majesty. There's more focus or more interest in sports than it is in Bible study. There's more focus on fundraising than it is on building faith. There's more interest in erecting earthly empires than laying up heavenly trouble. There's more devotion disregarding rather than confronting sin. Therefore, more devoted to making sinners comfortable in church than they are to making certain that there's a difference between the sinner and the saint. So people are more devoted to disregarding sin than confronting it in the church. That's pleasing man instead of pleasing God. There's more focus on technology than theology, God's truth. And they're more interested in pursuing pleasure than righteousness. All of these things come from a different gospel that pleases men rather than the gospel that pleases God. See, we are supposed to be salt and light But the church is becoming more like cotton candy and lava lamps. Y'all know what a lava lamp is, right? And some of y'all probably still got them things in y'all rooms. You know, that thing be moving, and then you just sit and watch it, and you know, yeah. The church is becoming like that. We just kind of watching society, culture, and just kind of just, you know, I can get into that. Yeah, it sets me in the right mood.
Yeah.
Instead of being salt and light, which exposes, diffuses, offends, darkness.
Yeah.
We got lava lamps and cotton candy going on in the church.
Lord have mercy.
And that's a mirror reflection of our egocentric driven, man-pleasing culture that has defected from the truth of God. In essence, we're turning away from the God of the Bible in favor of other gods. We're turning to the God of church growth, the God of entertainment, the God of personal pleasure. The God of the church is becoming more meism rather than that of theism, reflecting Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the church is packing people in the pews, building new buildings, but it's becoming impotent and impacting lives.
Lord have mercy.
The church is becoming weak and impacting lives.
Lord have mercy.
Because it's not leading people to a personal, genuine relationship with the living God. That's why folk can be in church on Sunday after they partied, hardied, and did everything Monday through Saturday. I'm not telling you what I heard. I'm telling you what I know by example.
Yeah. Yeah.
I used to lead a party, wake up in places that wasn't my own house, and was at church on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Everybody know I like cologne, so you couldn't smell me. See, what make folk think they can function like that?
Yeah.
It's a different gospel.
Yeah.
Not the gospel. Believe folk not convicted when they turn it up, put it down, scratch it off.
Yeah.
I dare you to read. I read it for the praise team this morning, 1 Peter chapter 4. It said you used to go to parties.
Yeah.
It said you used to hang out with the people.
Yeah.
It said you used to do that stuff. But it said, but now since you heard the gospel of truth, he said, you don't hang out with them folk no more. You don't turn it up with them no more. But you're going to get maligned for that because you're going to suffer for Christ. But it's better to suffer for Christ.
Yeah.
Because you turned away from them.
Yeah.
Than suffer wrath for Christ because you choose to stay with
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
That was for y'all. That wasn't in my notes. Close with this illustration. Story is told of a professional violinist. He gave a concert, Carnegie Hall, filled with thousands and thousands of people. When he finished, the crowd in the concert hall, they all jumped up, and they were standing on their feet, and they gave him a 5-minute standing ovation. The whole time he was just bowing and thanking them because he was humbled and grateful for that. And they never stopped clapping. They never stopped clapping. They all were clapping over and over and over and over. He had delivered a magnificent performance. This young violinist, he walked off stage though he had tears streaming down his face. I told you this story before. He was dejected. His heart was broken. And the stagehand saw him coming off there. He said, stop, hold it. Why are you crying? What is the problem? Listen at those people out there. Listen at the crowd. They love you. Why are you in here crying? I don't understand it, said the stagehand. The violinist said, you see that man sitting on the front row? He said, yeah, I see it. I can't repeat some of the things that the stagehand has said about him. But in so many words, the stagehand told him, listen, forget about him. It's thousands of people applauding you right now. Forget about that man. The young violinist said, I can't forget about him. Say, that man is my father. Not only is he my father, but he is my violin teacher. Yeah. Y'all didn't hear what I said.
Yeah.
If he doesn't stand, it doesn't matter what the thousands of people do. If my father, if my teacher, if my coach, if the one who taught me
Yeah.
The thousands of people are standing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
if God doesn't applaud,
Yeah.
when he sees how we live our life,
Yeah. Lord have
are y'all ready
mercy.
for this?
Lord have mercy.
It doesn't matter
Amen.
what everybody else does. Teach on
Amen.
that.
Amen. Amen.
If at the end of the day, if the end of the week, if at the end of whatever, God doesn't applaud, it doesn't matter what everybody else is doing.
Amen. Amen.
We need to live our life to please God rather than people.
Yeah.
And if you happen to have a faithful pastor
Yeah.
who preaches not to please people, he ought to be appreciated just for that.
Amen.
The mystery in oceans deep, my faith will stand.